Welcome to the Not Superheroes Gets Dads podcast. No, we can't fly. No, we can't shoot lasers or pick up giant buildings. But what we can do is help set the foundations for our families, be present for our kids, and combat generational cycles. On this podcast, we dive into everything dad related, from the struggles we deal with as fathers to what our favorite thing, the barbecue, is. Hello, I'm Sean Laurie. Hope you guys are having an amazing, blessed day today. Before we get into it, guys, like always, right, I appreciate the support. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. You know, I always say, man, all those messages you guys send me, I promise it definitely always hits home for me and keeps me motivated to keep bringing this to you guys. But with that being said, man, this guy here, I've known him for a while, and just to see, at least from the outside looking in, just to see his progression with different things he's got going on, is awesome to see. And I'm glad I was able to track you down, man. I know you've been MIA too. I'm like, dang, he not on social media. I can't find him. He was doing, Jason never on social media either. But with that being said, man, how you doing, my boy Kevin? How you doing, man?
Man, I'm blessed, bro. I appreciate you having me on, man. And yeah, just like you were saying, did one of them Jason Henry type breaks. He was actually the one that influenced it, by the way. So
Mm.
it was definitely connected to him. But I appreciate you, man. I think that you highlight one of the most important topics, which is fatherhood, being a husband, being a man of God. So love what you're doing, my brother, and real happy and grateful to be here.
Appreciate it, man. So what I always like to do icebreakers, right? Of course. So with you having, I think you have three girls now, right?
Yes, sir.
So with you having, actually you outnumbered. So with you having, so with you being outnumbered, man, what is one of the biggest things you have either realized or have been taught from your girls?
Man, that's a great question. Um, one of the biggest things I realized, so I remember um, when we had the gender reveal at one of those places where you get the what's it called? I forget the term of it, but they get the camera, throw it over your ultrasound.
Yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
had we had one of the ultrasounds where they revealed the gender and all that. And I remember just going into it, like all my boys, my pops, we was like, "Yeah, you gotta have a son," you know what I'm saying? And I was just like, "Man, all right, I gotta have my son." And I remember like when we found out it was a girl, it was like, "Oh man," all the girls going crazy, all the fellas is like, "Dang." But one thing that the girls have taught me is that number one, I love being a girl dad, man. Um, they've shown me that I would go on to want to have 10 girls if I could, 10 daughters, just because I see how amazing the relationship is, bro. One thing that I really experienced with them is even at such a young age, even at being 2, 5, 8 years old, like that nurturing is just programmed within them.
Yeah.
So I love having those spaces with my girls where I see them like trying to take care of dad or like, come and scratch dad's head and stuff like that. So I'm like, man, like that's just beautiful to see.
It is.
And then also too, one thing that we're learning as well is, especially with culture when it comes to women, we could be so, that's the princess, that's the, don't lift a finger. She does nothing, lock her away in the castle. We need to carry her down, all that.
Yeah.
And the other day we just not the other day, but I'd say maybe a couple months ago, we started focusing more on like chores. And really chores versus serving people, because yes, they got chores where they need to go take care and do their stuff.
Yeah.
But then they love to spend, they love to shop. So we're like, we got to figure out a way for you guys to earn money by serving others. So one
Mm.
of the things they do, like for my mom, is they'll go into her backyard and clean up the dog poop. And
Okay.
for like a little girl to be doing that, it's like, oh no, they shouldn't be touching no poop or nothing like that. But I'm like, no, like we're gonna raise warriors. Like, yeah, you could be a princess, but you're also to be a warrior. And I don't want
Mm.
to be on the whole, super like, no, Miss Independent, you don't need nobody. I'm not on that. But
Yeah.
I want you to be able to do for self in all areas of life,
Yeah.
right? Like I want you to be able to jump in that prayer closet yourself. I want you to
Mm.
be able to generate income yourself. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? To be able to
Yeah.
do those things that society would say we shouldn't have women doing these things, including cleaning up dog poop and being able to do certain, take care of
Yeah.
the house, different
Yeah.
things like
Yeah.
that.
I love
So
it, bro. I look at
yeah,
like what you're doing is you and your and the missus, of course, but what you guys are doing is you're building women that really bring value, right? As
come on,
value,
yeah,
and so when they look for someone when they get older, right? That person has to have value now, right? But
yeah,
it's only a bonus. It's not one of those things like, oh, I need them to carry the load or whatever the case is. So I think that's dope, bro. And like you said, the impact that girls have, man, because I have two and
yep,
two, right? But like you, my youngest, like she's just a trip sometimes. Like I raise my voice, she gets upset. Mom can do the same thing, but it doesn't matter. I do it, right? It's like you're a
right.
terrible person. And then she was mad. Quick story, she was mad at the missus, and she was like, and she was just having an attitude. She had an attitude towards me. I was like, why are you mad at me? She said, Dad, I'm upset and it's your responsibility to make sure I'm happy. I said, what? What?
Dang.
I said, dang. Like, all right. So, but again, like you said, man, they're nurturing, they're loving, and it's
Yeah,
awesome to see. So, with
yep.
that being said, man, because excuse excuse me, y'all. With that being said, it's we'll dive into that, but you have a
Yep.
business. We'll dive into that a little bit. But how do you
Yep.
balance being present, like with your girls? Because as you know, the girls definitely want dad to be home. They definitely want
Mm,
dad's
mm.
attention. At the end of the day, like you could be tired. They do not care. Like, Dad, can you watch this show with me? Can you play the dolls with me? Whatever the case is. So how do you make sure that you balance being present at home but also still running your business and stuff like that? Maybe you can run it at home. I'm not sure, but right,
Mhm.
like like I said, I know mine is with two, so I can imagine with three, right?
Right.
But how are you able to balance that?
Man, first off, that's a great question. It's a challenging one too, where first I want to be honest and say that I could do a way better job. I'm
Mm,
committed to doing a better job at showing up with my girls, number one. I
mm,
haven't arrived, I don't feel like I'm there as much as I want to be present wise.
yeah.
Um, but I think the way to balance, okay, here's what I believe about balance, and
Mm-hmm,
some may have an opposite opinion of this or even challenge it. I'm good with that,
mm-hmm,
but I think that in life we go through seasons, right? And I think there's going to be ebbs and flows versus a perfect balance of getting just enough of this and just enough of that. For example, um, and I know you said we'll talk about this later, but previously I was doing short-term rental arbitrage. We
mm-hmm.
had the 33 units, killing it, was doing awesome. Empire comes crashing down,
Yeah.
right? I remember during that time when that business failed, and now I'm getting ready to build the independent living homes. My wife ended up getting a position with some very close friends of ours in their business, kind of just to help out. She was real close with the owner, so it was like, this makes sense.
Yeah.
Go check it out. We're definitely trying to reestablish income, anyways. Go ahead and rock
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yeah.
And for the first, I want to say maybe a couple of months, we didn't have that childcare in place yet.
Mm-hmm.
So it was beautiful because now I see, like, even through the whole business failing, God was pushing me in from a season of work, work, work to, okay, there's going to be 2, 3 days out the week, when wifey's working, where you're going to be stay-at-home dad,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So I think in that sense, it was just God kind of shifting the seasons,
Mm,
but shifting it for a reason for me to learn as well of what it looks like to be more present at home and be
mm-hmm.
with the girls and be in their world and, like you said, play the dolls. But then while also try to spend like some intentional time of building them up as well. So to answer your question, I just think it's being extremely aware of the season that you're in, where you may be, hey, for this next couple months, I'm 10 to 12 hours a day building because that's what's required of me in this season. And then there may be another season where it's like, okay, I'm 1, 2 days a week at work, and the rest of the time is with family. Um, so I think it's more so just being aware of what season that you're in, and then while you're in that season, fully focusing on what's at hand. So if it is family time, I'm going all in with I'm not thinking about work. I'm not thinking about nothing else. Like I'm in here with the family.
Yeah.
But then when it's at work, it's like, no, my hand is to the plow. Like I'm focused,
Mm.
you know?
I like that. No, that's actually I agree with that too. Like you said, seasons, right? And those seasons doesn't necessarily have to be a month or week. It could be like you said, it could be a couple days here, a couple days there.
Right,
So I
right.
like that, bro. So I wanted to ask you too then, like because like you said, you touched on it a little bit, but how do you then approach because you know, especially as literally the only man in the house, right? So
Mm.
how do you approach leadership at home differently than the leadership you do with your business? Or do you see it connected?
You know what? I see it connected because I think one of the most influential um, powers in your business is going to be your own character.
Mm,
So, for example, no, and yeah, we could get deep. Like, if I'm at home, let's just say, for example, at home, I'm very disorganized, kind of letting things slip through the cracks. I'm over here thinking about business when it's like, okay, we need to be scheduling doctor's appointment for, the middle child or whatever the case is, right?
yeah.
I think like that same lack of focus or being easily distracted is also going to show up in my business,
Mm,
right? Even to take it a little bit further, um, in my marriage, if I show up in a space where I'm not transparent, um, I lack transparency. I'm lacking faithfulness. I'm lacking going past surface level problems and getting to the root of things with my wife. If I show up like that there, it's a great chance I'm also going to show up unfaithful in my business. Where it's like,
mm,
I know I should be doing these things, but I'm doing these things over here because it's more instant gratification or, temptation, whatever the case is.
yeah.
Right. So I think where you show up one place, you'll show up in all places
Mm.
somewhat similar.
That's not that's
Yeah.
that's deep and that's real at the same time, man. So, um, like you say, so you started real quick too, y'all. I'm gonna brag about my boy real quick. Obviously, like you said, man, you're a true entrepreneur in my mind. But with that, right? Every successful person I know that has a business starts a business, right? They those ups and downs, right? It does real well, it falls, whatever the case is. But you was one of the first people, at least that I heard. Like I first heard about Airbnb, bro, because of you. Like they were like, "Oh, Kevin," So you was the first one to me that was really in that space. So like, I guess how did you originally start in that space,
Mhm.
and then I guess how did it end up shifting to where you're at now?
Love it, man. Love it. So okay, so going all the way back, origin wise, me and you, we got connected it was once called Relevant Church through
Yeah.
Pastor John Belima, all that. So,
Yes, sir.
if I look back on life, I could see where there was times where I was like flipping stuff, selling stuff, different things like that, but not full entrepreneurship. But
Yeah.
I had that knack of like not salesman, but like I'm willing to make some transactions. We can make
Yeah.
some deals,
You was on
right?
it, bro. You was on it.
Here I remember back in the day, I was selling gum at school. I was like, man, if I take each individual piece and bust it down by 25 cents, right? But entrepreneurship really started for me when I started going to Relevant. I remember it was 2016. I'll never forget it. So, going back 2016, we got connected at Relevant Church. John Belina, our pastor, one thing that he would say, and I'm sure you heard this from the pulpit, is that like he didn't take a check from the church, right? Like he wasn't on salary, didn't get paid from it, and he had his own things going on. And I remember one day at church we were tearing down. I'm sure you remember the tear down days. And I remember he walked right past me and he showed me a screenshot of $116,000 selling
Mm,
waterproof socks on an online store. And I was like, man, like, what is this waterproof socks? Like, what? Like, what are you doing? So I got connected with him. He showed me everything, and then I started a e-commerce store selling products online, Shopify. 2016, I was selling Freemason rings, random stuff, just like whatever the people was interested in, I was gonna sell it.
yeah.
So then that's what really got me going. And then as I was on that journey with ecom, I reconnected with a friend who we went to school back in elementary. He's actually from Kenya. I remember the day when he came from Africa to our school, like just learning English, all that.
Mm,
And we connected because we were both doing e-com. He was selling on Amazon. I was selling on Shopify, running Facebook ads. And he was telling me that he was getting into this Airbnb thing. And it was kind of a similar story of, he showed me the money and I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm trying to learn this. Like, what's
yeah.
going on? So then we go to Dallas because my sister was interested too. That's where she was living. George came out there as well, showed us the game step by step, like really blessed us with it. That's why I always give out the game. Anytime somebody asks me, I'm gonna make sure that they know exactly how to do it, A to Z, just like he did for me. And then we started with 2 units in downtown Dallas, 20, I believe that was 2018. And
Mm,
then we scaled up enough units to where I was able to walk away from my job in 2020. It was literally a week before the pandemic, like March
that's
5th,
crazy.
2020 is when I resigned, and then we're on lockdown March 17th.
Mm,
Yeah, but that was like the origin story of it, of how I got started.
that's crazy, man. So,
Yeah.
um, then I guess so. At what point did you realize you need to? I know. You said like it kind of you built up because I know you had a bunch of different properties and stuff. But
Mhm.
what point I guess did you realize you need to pivot from more of what you're doing now, where you said like shared living and stuff like that?
Yeah. And you know what? I'll preface this answer by first saying um, Airbnb works. Like there's still hundreds,
Yeah.
thousands of hosts out there killing it. I'm not on that type of time where I'm basically saying like, oh, screw Airbnb, it's never going to
Yeah.
work, and it doesn't make money. No, Airbnb is great. Airbnb is amazing. The mistakes that happened was because of me, not the business. So
Mm-hmm.
it was more of a writing on the wall thing. So we expanded to San Diego County here in California, Southern California. And one thing that was taking place really throughout the nation was that short-term rental, specifically Airbnb, was getting regulated in a lot of different markets, meaning that the city was coming out with ordinances and laws around short-term rentals. And that could range from, hey, you can't do Airbnb here at all, to, hey, you can do it. Just make sure you come get your business license and that you pay your 5% transient. I forget what the exact terminology, but pay us that tax so that we can get some of that revenue too. So a lot of regulation was happening, and in San Diego, I knew that with the units that I had, it was going to be very unlikely that I could probably get a permit because they only made so many of them.
Mm,
I think at the time there was like 12,000 units, and they only had about 3 or 4 thousand permits available. So right, imagine 8 to 12,000 hosts, however many hosts there were, trying to scramble and get those permits. And I didn't get it in time. I was kind of dragging my feet. I knew it was coming. Another issue where I messed up was stewardship. Really putting a system to protect cash flow and to make sure that it's flowing properly, that you have enough liquid, that you have enough to scale. Me coming into entrepreneurship, I didn't have a lot of those um, foundational systems you'll need to thrive, right? I didn't understand accounting and bookkeeping and different things like that. So for us, although we were generating a lot of revenue and a lot of profit, we're spending way too much, right?
mm,
One of the traps when it comes to entrepreneurship is that as you make more money, your expenses increase as well. But those who steward the cash flow well, steward the bag well, can operate their business well, they increase profit and revenue while keeping their expenses locked in,
mm,
right? So that way you're now building, this difference between how much it costs for you to live every month based on your bills and how much money you're generating. And the bigger gap you can generate, the better, right? But I fell into the usual trap of, okay, wait, we're making more, well, let's spend more. Like,
yeah.
oh, let's live here now. Wait, we made some more, let's get this car now. Oh, what? Let's get another.
Yeah.
So we got into that trap. Um, and I knew I needed to pivot when I seen how out leveraged I was, right?
Mm,
I had more debt than I had debit payments coming in, right? I had more things to pay than I had payments coming in. All the while, I know that eventually the city's going to start having issues with us and trying to put us out if we don't get that permit. So it was like this perfect storm of you ain't taking care of the bag, and then also too, your units that generate the bag are at risk, right?
Yeah.
Because of the whole permit thing. So um, yeah, so just stuff like that happening, and again, none of the business's fault, all on me.
Yeah.
It's all on the jockey. I should have made different moves prior, been a better steward, all that good stuff. But ultimately, it had to happen so that we could learn.
Mm.
So, we went from 33 units to literally zero. And then when it came to the independent living home business, we had a close friend, the one that my wife is working with now, that couple, for 4 or 5 years. Um, his name, Rodney, he was telling me, hey, I'm in this business where, we get to serve people and generate high cash flow. And it's amazing. Like we take care of people and it takes care of us.
That's dope.
So I just remember him always telling me about that, and then I reached back out saying, hey, I want to learn what you got going, and then that's what eventually led to what we're doing now. Because there's some similarities between what we were doing with short-term rental arbitrage, Airbnb, and with this, right?
Mm.
You still have to go secure a property, so a lot of those skills and tactics and strategies that I was doing with Airbnb, I was able to apply here with securing properties to operate what we're doing. But now it's just a different client in the home, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's essentially what led to the transition, which again was bad stewardship on my part, being really really lacking presence in the home, and then also, man, just um, really being disconnected from God in the sense of, you start to look at what was built and think it was all you. Like
Yeah.
you think because it was your hands hitting the hammer and you taking the hammer and hitting the nail that you forget that it was God that gave you the ability to do that in the first place,
Mm.
right? So like I was also building an empire that was built on sand because it was all on me instead of realizing like, you know what? No, this is through God I'm able to do this.
Yeah.
Um, and I think, having that perspective would have shaped some of more of the character decisions that I had at that time. But again, had to happen so we can extract the wisdom from that for our current season now, for sure.
That's crazy you said because that's what I was gonna ask because, like, I was thinking just just like anyone and you're younger than me, you know what I mean? So I'm thinking of just the mindset, man. I have my family, but we got a little bit more, so we can spend a little bit more over here, right? We
Hmm.
can do all these different things, and I'm sure it's just natural to feel good, like man, I'm doing it right, and in
Hmm.
that disconnection, that's what I was gonna ask, like that disconnection what point was there a moment? I'm sure there was. Was there a moment? Because obviously it did suck. Like you said, Airbnb works, y'all. He's not bashing it. It works. It just wasn't. It's just things you didn't do on your end, but it was also a blessing, right? Like certain things probably need to happen for
Yep.
God to show you certain things, right? So what was that moment where you felt like, you know what, I'm yes, like it looks good from the outside. Everyone, hey, Kevin, you're doing great. Hey, patting you on the back and all that, but you're like, nah, like I'm recognizing, like I'm being distant from God right now, and that's not where I need to be, right?
Right.
Because like God put me in this position, like you said, hey, back in the day, from gum to commerce to what I mean, to all these different
Right.
things. So like, what was that moment, bro, for you where you was like, yeah, I got to reconnect.
Man. That moment, that was a big moment. Um, and we'll get into that. And before I say that, man, just to kind of add on what you were talking about, you start feeling good and, start thinking, hey, let's do this, let's do that. Um, to sum up everything I said before, it was the difference of being led versus following like lust. And lust is not just like this sexual
Yeah.
craving, but it's just like just craving things in general, like that overpowering, like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and overeat and overspend on food, just like lust in all
Yeah.
different areas, right? So I think at that time God was really showing me like you're not living led, like
Mm,
you're following your flesh, not me.
mm,
Um, so just to wrap that up, but to answer your question, that moment came really after the business failed. And we could have started Airbnb again, but I was just in a place of like, let me see what's out there. Like now I wanted to be patient. It was like, okay, let's see what we're really going to put our hand at. Like, what do we really want to dive into for a decade? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do we really, really, really want to go after? Um, so that moment came for me when, like you said, the big wake up, the turning point, the aha moment. So after the whole, Airbnb empire crash, burned, all that good stuff, I was in a season, it was probably about a year where I'm just checking other things out, other
Mm.
different businesses and whatnot. And a mentor and friend of mine, her name is Shatwana Dean, she was teaching individuals how to buy properties, whether it was home or land, for pennies on the dollar. And when I say that, I mean, being able to buy a home that, when it's fixed up, pretty and looking right, and you could put it on market, could sell for, just for numbers' sake, let's just say $100,000.
Yeah.
But you can purchase it at the auction, and of course it's going to be, in it's going to need repair and whatnot,
Yeah.
but you can get that same property for $1,000, right?
Mm.
So she was teaching like how to buy property through the county auctions for real cheap.
Yeah.
And I would see her all the time, posting content of individuals of like, hey, I just got these 3 homes for $3,500, just like ridiculous stuff. I'm like, wait, what's going on? So she was going out to Tulsa, Oklahoma,
Mm.
to invest in an auction, right? Because every county, every single county in America, they have to do something with these properties that they seize, and they seize these properties because people don't pay their property taxes.
Yeah.
So they'll either just outright auction the property, or you can purchase a lien on the property, which you get paid a certain amount of interest.
Mm.
Great business model, um, and still something that I'm going to be using today in my tool belt. But I meet her out there in Tulsa, Oklahoma, because she's going to show me the ropes, teach me the way, and all that.
Yeah.
And I would just say, one thing as I'm saying this out loud, I'm like, man, I've been blessed with people who have really just kind of shared the business. So that's always huge. Like, if you could learn from somebody that is actively doing it, like, go
Mm.
do it. Like, go
Mm.
be their assistant. Go volunteer. Go serve them and learn how they're serving their clients and serving their people,
Mm. Yeah.
whatever they're doing. But we go out there to Tulsa, Oklahoma. I rent a vehicle from this individual on Turo. When I go to meet up with them, he was like, "Hey, man, I know you," and I'm like, "I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Like, what? I ain't never been out here. Like, how do we know each other?" And he was like, "Yeah, I took your Airbnb course back in the day. Like, it was
Mm.
great. I was able to learn a lot. Thank you so much for it. It's a, honor to connect." So that was cool. We connected and all that. Renting his vehicle, everything was cool. 2 days into the trip, he hits me up and he's like, "Hey, man, like, why don't you come to church with me?" And I'm like, man, like, and just to give you context, at this time, I probably haven't been in church for a year, maybe a year and a half. Like, I was
Okay.
just straight disconnected. Like, not it wasn't
Yeah.
even a thought. Like, I'm just kind of doing my own thing. So it's like, come to church, and I'm like, man, all right. So I do the classic. I do the classic. You know how with the fellas, we'll show up late to church on purpose just so we can miss all the worship songs. Like, we don't want to feel the spirit at all. We just
Yeah.
want to walk in there, get the word, and be out. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna show up late on purpose. Like, I'm gonna miss those three. And I had it already in my head. We were in ministry before. I'm like, okay, you got 3 songs, 5 minutes each, 15 minutes plus the announcements. I'm gonna be about 25 minutes late.
Yeah.
So um, I'm working out just to really extend time and everything. I already know I'm late. Shower. I show up. Bro, I walk through the doors and they are in the thick of worship. Like, they are. I think I pulled up and it was like song number 3, like the one where everybody's going in, like, and you could just feel it, man. It's like, people are in there crying, praising,
Yeah.
just beautiful though. And I'm
Yeah.
like, dang, okay, I walked into worship. I'm not gonna walk out now. Let me go. And then of
Yeah.
course when I pulled up, he had must have told somebody, hey, I'm coming. So they sit me right in the front, you know what I'm saying? Like, first row, right next to where the pastor's speaking. I'm like, oh my gosh, so I really can't leave now. Um, and I remember when he was preaching, he was going in, but one of the things that really caught me is he was saying to his congregation, he was like, hey guys, talking to his congregation, he was like, I failed you because I know that there are couples in my church and your marriage has been struggling
Mm.
and you've been being attacked, and I haven't really had a chance to pour into you in regards to your marriage. and to build you up in your marriage and to equip you in your marriage. And I'm like, man, that's real. Like, for
Yeah.
a pastor to say that, just to
Yeah.
acknowledge that. So then he was like, if you are married and whether your spouse is here or not, I want you to come to the front. So I'm like, okay, let me come up there, see what's. He called us
Yeah.
all up, even though my spouse is not there. Then he was
Yeah.
like, I want you to, whether your spouse is here or not, I want you to recommit to them and like, verbally declare your commitment to them on
Mm,
how you are going to just be more locked in, truly be one flesh, cover each other, love each
yeah.
other, all of that, right?
Yeah.
So my wife isn't there, but I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna, in the spirit, I'm about to just pray and do this.
Yeah.
And bro, as I'm praying, man, as I'm praying, I feel, I feel like someone like holding me, and I'm tripping because I'm like, man, it's almost like I feel like my wife is here with me right now because my eyes are closed as I'm praying,
Yeah.
right? And then we do that, recommitment. He prays for us, and then he just goes back into worship. And I just remember God telling me at that time, um like don't open your eyes, like just stay locked into this moment, like don't open your eyes, stay locked in, like stay present even with your eyes closed.
Mm,
So then like we worshiping, bro, and then all of a sudden I feel like all these hands on me, and I'm assuming it's the church. I have my eyes closed at this time, but like I just feel like people praying for me and all that. And bro, like I'm just like, front of the stage, right where the pulpit is,
yeah.
just rocking out in worship, eyes closed, man, just having like an experience with God. Just like feeling so connected, feeling love, like feeling
Yeah.
it all in that moment, man. Just feeling like he was just, loving on me, like, and
Mm,
just building me up, like almost like the prodigal son, like, finally, son, you're back home. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? I've been waiting for you. And bro, when I open my eyes, I look back and nobody is in church anymore. It's literally just me and the worship team. And I come to find out later, the pastor had told me that they had been worshiping, like extended it just because I was there, like, and didn't move, had my eyes closed, like locked. They had kept going for like another hour, hour and a half, bro.
That's crazy.
So like church was over for like an hour and they was just going for me, just like keeping that moment.
That's
And it was crazy for me because like time wise, it felt like 15 minutes.
that's wild.
So like that was the moment where it was like I remember I called my wife immediately. We're on the phone crying, just like I'm sharing her about this moment, and I make
Yeah.
that commitment to her.
Yeah.
Because like during that time when I was, doing the Airbnb stuff, I was not present at home.
Yeah.
As a married man, I'm in the club trying to pop
Yeah.
bottles and all that, like just
Yeah.
be a fool, bro, being a
Yeah.
fool. And it was like I was really being unfaithful to everything that God had given me, the good things,
Mm,
my wife, my family, being more present with them, my immediate family, my parents, my sisters, right? Like my
yeah.
wife would be going to family Bible study on a weekly basis and I wouldn't be there. Like I was gone for a whole year. My wife and kids showing up, I'm not even there. And they have
Yeah.
my parents' house,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, just in that moment, it was just like, oh, you know what? My bad, God, I forgot. Like I need to be connected with you at all times. Like I need to abide in you so you abide in me. You know what I'm saying? I need to
Yeah.
be connected. So in that moment I felt like I was brought back to the root. I was a withered, broken
Yeah.
branch that got grafted back in. So yeah, that was the moment for sure where it was like, okay, we back on this. Like let's focus on what's important.
No, and I definitely can relate to that because I've had not that experience, but I had a similar experience with that. Shout out to Maurice. Actually, you remember Maurice, right? Maurice
Ooh.
Cox.
Oh man, that's my bro.
Yeah,
That's
we
my
go to
bro
his
right
church,
there.
bro. We go to his church.
Oh, CC, what is it?
CBC.
CBC. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you're there with his brother, his twin,
Yeah,
Aisha,
well,
everybody.
it's big. It's like three different campuses, but the one he's at Central, that's where Maurice is at. His brother is actually mastering or pastoring in the North Side, but that's a whole nother thing.
Mm,
But yeah, but shout out to Maurice as well though. But he definitely helped me with a breakthrough with certain stuff as well. So
that's
um,
real.
yeah, man. But yeah, bro. So I want to ask you as well, man. So like, what advice then, bro, would you give to fathers, one that want to step into business maybe, but two that might already have a business or maybe a I guess a great job, whatever the case is, but they have noticed that they have been slipping in leadership. They've been slipping and connecting, and for us believers, like what could you say? What kind of advice or something you can just give them?
Man, so I'll speak to the first group of individuals, the fathers who want to start a business. Number one, I want to say that you're not too late. Like
Mm,
if you're 45, you're 40 years old, 50 years old right now, your kids are grown, or whether your kids are young, whatever the case is, it is not too late for you at all because of
mm,
social media, because of the rise of AI. We're just surrounded by opportunity. So I definitely want to dispel the whole like, okay, if I didn't start when I was 21, it's too late for me. Like, no, you can literally start right now.
mm,
And then also too, I would say for those that want to get started, follow your skills first, not your passion. And the reason why I say follow your skills first is because with your skills, you can immediately serve people. And sometimes we have to be careful when we're just so heavily driven by like, I want to follow my passion. I want to follow my passion. Really what you can fall into is really wanting to serve yourself because you want to do what you love, which, and I'm not saying that's, I want to preface this. I'm not saying that's wrong. If you have the ability to do what you love, do what you love. But the best path that I've seen to living out your passion is first serving others, and it opens the door for your passions,
mm,
whatever that may be. So I would say focus on whatever your skill is. Like, let's just say, for example, there's a father in here who has been um, working at a mechanic shop for 15 years, and he's just really nice with the cars. But his passion is music. So what I would say is number one, use social media as an outlet for your passion, right? Use it as an outlet. You can express, you can talk about it, you can do all those things,
yeah,
but also leverage your skills for cash flow. So now it's
mm,
time to start the mobile mechanic business where you can take your skills, build upon that, and then hire someone and then, start to build
yeah,
that up. But I would say leverage your skills for the revenue and for the opportunity, and then
mm,
use that to really push out your passion, whatever that thing may be. Um, what else? What else? What else? Also, another thing that I would like to throw out there, especially for the dads who want to start a business,
yeah,
is even if you have $0, even if you have negative in your account, like you don't even want to deposit a check because you're negative 372, and when you do that, now you can't pay the next bill.
yeah,
Like, don't let a lack of funds, no funds, negative funds, bankruptcy, don't let the fact that you feel or you look in your bank account and you don't see the dollar amount that you want, don't let that stop you from starting your business. We live in an amazing country that does have its flaws, but when it comes to now in this day and age, when it comes to access to capital, right? The fact that you can go and start an LLC and begin building credit on the LLC and then get credit cards and loans in the name of the LLC, not even touching your social. The fact that you can do that gives all of us no excuse.
yeah,
Yes, it does take longer, right? Like when we crashed, when our whole Airbnb business crashed, and we had that business failure, which I'm completely okay calling it that because you learn from the failures. When we had our lesson and everything there,
yeah,
we had to start back over because we had to go through the bankruptcy. We had to go through all of that, right? But it was possible. It was like, okay, we could still leverage credit. We could still do these things. So don't let the fact that you don't have a big bank account stop you from launching. And also
mm,
too with social media, I mean you're literally one post away from going viral and then driving an insane amount of traffic to not only your page, but if you do have an offer, your offer, right?
yeah.
So I mean you're just surrounded by opportunity. So
I like
you
that.
we are living in the Garden of Eden where we have access to all the fruit. You know what I'm saying? It's
Mm,
like it's just all
yeah,
around you. Just go get it. You
yeah.
know?
I love that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love
And
it.
and I would say, to the dads that are in business, keep at it. Like
Yeah,
one thing that I had to learn was tenacity because we had a when we started entrepreneurship, it was more of an upward trajectory. So, we did well with e-commerce. Yeah, we had a little dip, but then we did well with Airbnb, and then we did well with the course. So we had a lot of wins more than losses early on, but my big loss didn't come until after I had a few wins. Because
mm,
usually it's really, really hard on the front end. It was a little bit
yeah,
different for me. Like I was able to catch fire earlier when I started, and then it got tough. And
yeah,
there's definitely gonna be days where it's like you feel like you want to give up at this. Um, it can really it's a mind game. Like, are you willing to go through all the BS that it comes with And I would just say for the dads that do have business, like just keep going. And for the dads that do have business, make sure like this is where your safety is at. Your safety is in an abundance of counselors, starting with God number one. I realized this today. I was like, you know what? I need to stop tripping with my prayer life and bring some of those things that are on my mind truly to God, even in the realm of entrepreneurship. Because when he tells us that the Holy Spirit will teach you all things, I'm going to believe that all means all. I'm going to believe that all means all. So it's not just the Christian life, it's not just, but it's marriage, children, business. Like you could teach me all things. So like I'm realizing that like when I need to make a financial decision or just a business decision, I'm going to come to you first and bring that to you, God. And I'm telling myself this is what I need to do. Like
Yeah.
realization that happened today. Go to God, pray about this, get in specific details. Lord, I'm thinking about making this decision. Help me see, give me the wisdom. And then also too, after that, I'm going to go to the counselors in the physical that he has set up because he can speak through them too.
Yeah.
So all of the individuals that have knowledge and experience in the thing that I am shooting for with whatever my decision is, I'm going to go to y'all and I'm actually going to heed the advice. So if I go to five of y'all and one says go and four says no, I'm going to really consider, well, why are these four saying no? Like, let me make sure I take my time and really, really think about this. Like, be patient in your
Yeah.
decisions because one decision can literally be the catalyst to you 10xing whatever you're trying to do. Or one decision could be the reason why your business fails and you either have to rebuild or transition to something else. So
Mm.
I would just say, like, really invest in getting your decision making on point by going to God, receiving that wisdom, receiving the wisdom from the word, but then also receiving the wisdom from the earthly counselors that he already set up for you because he's going to speak through them too.
Love that, bro. So,
Yeah.
I want to, because honestly, y'all, first of all, I hope y'all taking notes. You know what I mean? He's dropping some gems for sure. I'm like, shoot, I could have him all day. But, but, but nah, bro, I wanted to ask you just two questions. I guess my second to last question is, with you growing in your it's crazy because you're growing in your business, right? Like mindset. I'm not even
Mhm.
talking about funds and all that stuff, but just your mindset and where you're at, and from, like you said, some of the losses, right? Like you're
Mhm.
growing in your business, and you're growing as a father.
Mhm.
What is something that you hope your kids remember in this season?
Woo.
In this season, bro.
Hold on, let me sit with that real quick. Man, that's such a good question. And it makes me put myself in the shoes of a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old, like just going back, like, or even now, like, what are some of those things I remember about my parents that, like, some of those things that I love that I think they would want me to remember? Um, no, okay, so number one for sure is like I want my daughters to know, like without a shadow of a doubt, um, no matter what happens in their life, no matter what situation, no matter what they're going through, that they have access to God and God hears them. So I really would love for them to, man, this is challenging me so much because I'm realizing like the things that I want for them, I have to
Mm,
sow in my life,
yes.
right? Right. Like I have to be able to invest that in my life and do that work in my life before I want. But
Mm,
yeah, I would love for them to just really know that they have access to God, that they could connect with God, that they could really pray to Him, that He really hears them. Like spend that one-on-one time. And I would love for them to look at me and my wife Randy and say that, like, yep, they was connected. You know what I'm saying? They were led. You know what I'm saying? Um, and also too, I would love for them to really extract wisdom from my mistakes
mm,
and for me to show up in a way where I'm not ashamed of anything that I went through and I completely lay it out, with wisdom for them to learn from, you know. So I also would love for them to be like, dad was real. Dad,
mm,
like, he was open with us. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Um, yeah, I would say, and then yeah, those will be the two biggest for me for sure. Those would be
No,
the two biggest.
I like that, bro. No, that
Yeah.
you low key kind of already tapped into to the other one, but that's what I was gonna ask as well, though. So I asked that with your kids. Now I'm asking for your wife.
This man right here, bro. I'm gonna have to, man. You get these questions from ChatGPT, bro,
Nah,
because
it's
these
me,
is the
bro.
ones.
Me,
These is
bro.
going at the heart. No, I love it, my bro. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's a heavy one right there.
Yeah,
That's a heavy one. Um, but I would say for my wife, whew, give me 3 seconds to really think
yeah.
about this.
No, go ahead, man.
And the reason why I'm stirring this is because the reason why I'm having to stir the pot on this one in my mind and really just take some time with it is because um, sometimes the the perspectives and like the image that I want my wife or my children to have of me can become an idol in my life.
Mm,
You get what I'm saying? To where I am now, I'm doing anything to serve that, which means hiding things that damage that image.
mm,
Because just to be real with you, bro, like I had a situation with my wife this year where there were things, and not just, things of like, oh, hey, Kev's messing around. I'm just telling you, like, oh, I was messing around and acting up. No, but like, I had to have some real deep conversations with my wife, which called for transparency,
yeah,
feeling like I'm exposed, but
yeah,
feeling weak.
yeah,
Just having those sessions where it's like, this is me, like this is all. Here's the naked truth.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? And I know that during that time where we were processing, that's what came up for me was like I wanted her to look at me and be like, this guy's the best husband in the world. This guy's the best father based on my actions. But then if you look truly at my actions, there was things that I've done that wouldn't contribute to me being the best husband or the best father.
Mm,
So I would want her to see my authenticity. Yeah,
mm,
like I would want her to be like, you know what? Even though he made mistakes, um, there was nothing there was nothing that he was willing to keep in the dark and let destroy him and destroy us. You know what I'm saying?
mm, yeah,
Like I was willing to be vulnerable and transparent. Like I guess like for me now that would be the most important thing. Because again, the truth is like although I would love to be this, amazing husband, I made decisions that were contrary to that. And my
yeah,
decisions don't necessarily define me. Um, but just the truth of the matter is, that decision was still made.
yeah.
Right. So yeah, I would want us to experience
Mm.
an authentic me.
Okay.
Sorry, I know that was kind of long winded,
No,
but that was just
no,
a good
bro.
question that got me thinking.
No, bro,
Yeah.
I love it, man. I love it, man. And so, well, I always, before we close out, I always like to give flowers, man. I always like to give flowers to my guests, bro. So,
Yes,
one,
sir.
I want to say, salute to you, man. Like you said, we've known each other for a while now. Started from relevant, but just the growth, man. Even you sharing, with all of us listening, watching, whatever. Um, just the growth, man, and you're better from it, obviously. Your family's gonna be better because of it, right? And you get into that place realizing like, hey, I need to lead better, and
Yeah.
that is not an easy thing because I've been there. I'm raising my hand, like I've been
Right.
there. You know what I mean? And even now, like I'm constantly trying to make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to do because you know it's one of those things. What they say, you don't know what you don't know, right?
Right.
And so I thought I was doing things correctly, right? And so
Yeah.
I had to humble myself. So I just want to salute to you, man. Just what you're doing, what you're growing, man. I know whatever it is, that you got going on, man. It's always going to flourish, bro. Like I said, you now doing the was it the
Yep.
share living, right?
Yep. Yep.
I know that's gonna do well,
Appreciate
and
it.
anything you touch, bro, and I'm believing that. I'm praying for that, bro, for you not to get back what you gained, but to get what God has called for you to gain, right?
Man, that's real.
And once that happens, man, I know you guys are gonna be good. So I appreciate your time, bro. And also before too, is there anything? Cause shoot, I don't know how that works with the shared living or something. If what someone wants to get connected with it, bro, or is there a way they can contact you, or how's that?
Yeah, they can hit me up on Instagram at Kevin Inspired Me, or you can go directly to it's the Kingdom Builders Community.com, the Kingdom Builders Community.com. And really our mission for this business model is to put an end to the lack of affordable housing. We think that shared living is the answer to affordable housing because you see it all over right now. They're always building, low income community here, low income
Yeah,
housing there. But the people that need it most still aren't able to get into it because of background or because of medication or because of just whatever they've gone through in life. So, we're housing the unhousable, and we're being paid by the government to do it in a certain sort of fashion.
yeah.
But, if anybody wants to get into a real estate business where it's extremely high cash flow and you make a major difference and literally help serve your community, hit me up.
So and I'm gonna make sure too, y'all. I'm gonna make sure I put on YouTube or if you're listening on Spotify, Apple, wherever. I'm gonna make sure the link is there as well, so you guys can follow him on Instagram and also check out what he's doing, man. And again, bro, I appreciate your time for real, man. Salute to you, bro.
Man, absolutely, my brother. Thank you so much, man. And thank you for creating a space where dads can be transparent and other dads can receive from that, man. So you're doing amazing things, man. God is using this. I appreciate you big time. Thank you for the
Thank you,
opportunity.
thank you. So, with that being said, y'all, you don't have to be perfect, but you always have to be present. See you
Yep.
guys on the next one.